Hello everybody, video here for you today. Beyond Oak Island is a show in which the History Channel and Rick and Marty Lagina get involved with other treasure mysteries. If you missed any of my recaps of the Curse of Oak Island or Beyond Oak Island, there's a link to the playlist in the upper right. This is the no-cap recap of the Season 1, Episode 7, called Midwest Millions. Let's get into it. As usual, the episode opens in the Oak Island War Room. Maddie Blake is looking around the room at all the pictures and sees the Reader's Digest pages that were Rick and Marty's introduction to Oak Island and the Money Pit. I came across that same article at my grandparents' house as a child, so it was mine as well. There's a link to me reading and showing that article in the upper right. They talk about some people reading the article in books like Treasure Island, and they think it's interesting. And then other people read them, and they can see every clue in their mind, and they want to be part of the story. Maddie asked the brothers if they heard of any local treasure stories, and Marty Lagina says Michigan has a lot of treasure stories on the islands in the Great Lakes, as well as on the mainland. Narrator Robert Clotworthy explains that the Great Lakes State is home to 400 treasure mysteries, some on land, some underwater. One of these mysteries involves the 17th century French largest of its time trading ship, the Griffin. On September 18, 1679, the Griffin, 6 crewmen and a fortune in goods vanished without a trace in the northern part of Lake Michigan. Since then, it has become the holy grail of the state's missing shipwrecks. Another mystery involving a payroll-carrying stagecoach that was robbed of $20 million in gold coins at today's prices. The coins were supposedly submerged in a lake inside a pot-bellied stove. Also, there is a wall of silver inside a mine that a geologist found past booby traps and skeletons. He sold some samples at a friend's bar, but died without disclosing the location of the mine. Marty tells Maddie Blake that a former historian for the Ford Motor Company recently contacted him concerning a lost treasure off Poverty Island, which is 6 miles south of the Garden Peninsula. The story is that the French were trying to supply the Confederacy. Marty says, so here we go with Confederate gold again. Marty goes on to say that it's not even a shipwreck, but the treasure had to be thrown overboard because the ship was about to be caught. They supposedly chained the boxes together so they could return later and drag the bottom to recover the gold, worth $400 million today. The Union Navy established a blockade along the eastern seaboard so that European governments could not aid the Confederacy, but ships could get around this via the St. Lawrence Seaway as shown. In the 1930s, a ship's anchor line caught on a chest in the area. They pulled it up, but it broke free and fell back down before they could get it on board. An expedition was launched to find the chests, and one evening the lighthouse keeper's son saw that the divers were very excited. They had found something and were going to haul it up the next morning. That night there was a terrible storm, and it submerged the buoy marking the spot and destroyed the ship the divers were using. Marty arrives at Fair Point, Michigan to meet the team that will be searching, including underwater imaging expert Brian Abbott, who also imaged Borehole 10X on Oak Island. During Prohibition, a nationwide constitutional ban on the production, importation, transportation, and sale of alcoholic beverages from 1920 to 1933, mobsters Al Capone, John Dillinger, and Babyface Nelson used the Great Lakes waterways to smuggle money and alcohol. Brian Abbott says that Al Capone would hire divers to salvage alcohol from shipwrecks. Marty says that his grandmother was a small-time bootlegger. The team arrives at Poverty Island, abandoned since 1957 when the lighthouse became fully automated. Local restrictions make setting foot on Poverty Island illegal, so the group will stay in the boat. Also, the last time one of the team members was on the island, he said it was full of snakes. Treasure hunter Robert Kripke tells the captain they are looking for a depth of 40 to 60 feet to the bottom. Brian Abbott will be using the same sector scanning imaging device he used on Oak Island, mounting on a tripod. The device will stand on the lake floor and generate an image of the surroundings, including buried items. Marty makes sure they have GPS coordinates in case they find something interesting. The device finds something that is 6 foot tall, which is interesting, but not what they are looking for. Marty tells Robert Kripke to pick the next location to drop the imager based on his research and best guess. He picks a little bit deeper water and a bit north of their current location. Robert says the lighthouse keeper's son told him that when they were watching from the shore, they could hear the divers talking. The imaging device picks up this interesting target. Brian Abbott says nature doesn't make things that are square, rectangular, or round. It is determined that the object is 3 feet tall, which might be too big because the gold inside would be too heavy to lift. Brian suggests the next step would be to scan the entire area with side scan sonar, a device mounted on the side of a boat that scans the area the boat sails through, or even multi-beam sonar, which scans a much larger area in the same amount of time. Marty asks if the latter has ever been done here, and Brian says not to his knowledge. Back on Oak Island, Marty tells Rick, that in hindsight it would have been better to do the side scanning first, pick a number of targets, and then do the stationary scanning. Marty describes the island as creepy and mentions that it is sitting on blocks of limestones that aren't really connected, as shown here. I have one more episode of Season 1 of Beyond Oak Island to recap called Montezuma's Treasure, and I'm still recapping Season 2 as they come out. There is no Beyond Oak Island this week, but there is a Drilling Down Curse of Oak Island companion show that puts the major Oak Island finds into context with the North American history timeline. I'm Coach Steve Money, and you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation / assessment with me at calendly.com/Coach Steve Money. I'm a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. You can email me about coaching or anything else on my YouTube channel, CoachSteveMoney@gmail.com. You can send channel donations to paypal.me/CoachSteveMoney. You can add me on Instagram at Coach Steve Money, no spaces. And of course the YouTube page is youtube.com/Coach Steve Money. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for watching.